According to research from Early Milestones Colorado, more than 64% of families were forced to change child care plans during the pandemic. About a third of families did not get the care that they needed. Lack of child care is now a large barrier in getting parents back into the workforce. Mackenzie O'Keefe talked with Denver's Early Childhood Council to find out more about the issues we are seeing locally.
Tell me what we're seeing as far as childcare goes here locally. Are we seeing a lack of it? What are some of the trends you guys are seeing?
Yeah, definitely. So we're seeing more demand. Parents are returning to work and they want to have childcare for their children. So during the pandemic, we saw lower enrollment. So parents had their children at home. Many of them were worried about safety. So the number of children enrolled in childcare was decreased during the pandemic. Luckily, we're still able to hold on to childcare programs across the state. There was a lot of worry that childcare programs, a massive number of childcare programs were going to close. In reality, about 7% of childcare programs closed across the state during the pandemic, and that was the result of public investment. So we had emergency funds that helped stabilize some of the budget for childcare providers. And also the ingenuity and the dedication of those who are delivering those services. While we were able to keep programs open, a lot of classrooms closed because we had fewer children. And so what we're seeing now is that there's a demand for those classrooms to reopen, but educators, many of whom went on unemployment to take care of their own children during the pandemic, their students or their children's classrooms were closed. And they were helping support with remote learning. And so now we need our educators to come back, but it's challenging because we have a workforce crisis in early childhood education. So people are paid low wages, right around minimum wage is the average salary for people who work in childcare programs. And so we've always had a challenge of getting folks into the field, and it's just been exacerbated by the pandemic. And so if parents are looking for care and they can't find care for their children, it's likely because we don't have enough teachers to provide that care.
Tell me too, so since we are seeing, more people wanting to get their kids back in childcare with parents going back to work, what should parents know or be thinking about or aware of, if they're like, oh, I'm heading back to work in August or September, need to get my child back in. How does that work?
Emily, do you want to tackle the how did that work, and then I can talk about a little bit more of the workforce and the challenge of that.
So, I think they should start thinking about it early. So it's going to be a lot less, it's going to be more challenging to find a fall slot because everyone will be looking for that. I think that is actually a lot of when a lot of workplaces are expecting employees to start coming back when school starts again. So they should start planning now. There is childcare options 211 through Mile United Way, where they can get a referral to childcare, and they basically can, call their existing provider, the one they used to go to, and try to make sure that they're that they will have capacity. So there's a couple different routes to take, but I would say, yeah, start thinking about it early because there's going to be a lot more competition for slots for sure.
And I will say that we have fewer teachers, and we're trying to recruit more teachers into early education and care. There's public investment that's going to help us with that. So the federal government has 2 different coronavirus relief packages that will impact childcare. And so some of those dollars will go directly to childcare programs, and some of those dollars will go to parents to help with the cost of care. And those decisions are being made now. So, expect more information in the fall of this year about how that's going to impact parents. We do know that to develop and get more teachers into the field, it's going to take some time. So the capacity will increase over time, but those dollars are rolling out in the fall. And so we'll be increasing the workforce through the next couple of years. So we'll see more capacity over time.
Wonderful. And I think Megan already mentioned this, but so some of the teachers stayed home with their own children during the pandemic and did remote learning. And so as they're deciding to go back to work, there's competition from other employers like Target or Starbucks who actually can offer benefits and actually pay in some cases more, as the wages for early learning providers are often around minimum wage. So, there's some of them are choosing not to come back into the field, which really just exacerbates that workforce crisis that we're in.
With there being a lack of childcare, are costs higher for parents or families? Is that something that they're seeing as a result of that as well, or is it pretty consistent?
Providers really try not to pass those costs on to parents. They know that it's already a really significant cost to parents. So it's really about increased public investment and subsidy to help support these providers. But yeah, I mean, operational costs have increased. Just the needs, that happened over the course of the pandemic were around, getting PPE, cleaning supplies, so there's just been a shift in what the costs are, but the core operational costs, yeah, I mean, rents are going up, we all know. And so, it's really, they try to protect parents from those additional costs, but at a certain point, that's why those classrooms are staying closed, because they don't have the teachers, and then they really honestly sometimes don't have the operational ability to reopen that.